During Trump's primetime address, he made a number of claims about our election system, claiming that it cannot be trusted, the same election system that made him president and gave control of Congress to Republicans. And he released documents that are available now on the White House website that he says supports these claims. So let's take a closer look at some of what these documents actually say and compare it to the claims made by President Trump. So one of his claims was, quote, "The People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, the illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files." So that, yes, the documents do show that China did collect a lot of this personal information about Americans. One batch, the largest batch, they obtained voters' names, ages, phone numbers, and addresses. And then in the smaller batch, they obtained voter IDs, names, current addresses, previous addresses, birth dates, gender, and phone numbers. Of course, a lot of this information is just publicly available information, or available for purchase information, as Trump even mentioned in his address. Secondly, he claimed in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president to reduce the U.S. president's votes and prevent his reelection. The documents show actually the opposite. They do show that they did not want Trump to win, but it says in the documents itself that Beijing did not intend to try to affect the election. Interestingly, that same document isn't just about China. It focuses on three nations, China, Russia, and Iran. And some of the things that the documents say about Russia in particular are very interesting. So it says that Russia did do what President Trump says that China did, which is that they did try to influence the outcome of the election, but in order to re-elect Trump and to defeat former Vice President Biden. And one of the ways that they did this is to release misinformation about Biden. And including, it says that he engaged in criminal activity in his dealings with Ukraine and individuals tied to Ukrainian energy firm Burisma. So this is misinformation that Trump himself was spreading. So this document put onto the White House website shows that Trump himself was spreading misinformation coming from Russia about his opponent, Joe Biden, in the 2020 election. Also, a little interesting side note here, what it says about China is that if China did try to influence the election, that one way that they might do that is by leaking information about Donald Trump. What information? That's redacted. But it is interesting that apparently China has dirt on Trump. Also, there's a helpful graphic here in the same document showing again the three, Russia, China, and Iran. And interestingly, the most serious, the election processes, the targeting, accessing, or manipulating of election processes or election-related systems, the only one of those three nations that has attempted to do that is Russia. This actually is not new information, but it is in the report. Another claim made by Trump is, quote, raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020 shows that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Okay, so if you go into the documents on the White House website, what does it actually say? It says that none of it has been corroborated. And it says the source obtained the information from an unidentified subsource who claimed they obtained the information from an unidentified Chinese government official. So we're 3 steps removed from the actual information. And there's a warning there. This is not finally evaluated, has not been fully evaluated, so you can't trust this information. And then there's an interesting footnote as well, pointing out that the source claims that China got addresses through TikTok, but TikTok doesn't even collect addresses. So there's some doubts about the veracity of the information there as well. If you appreciate this video and this information, check us out at AmericanValues.org.